Congressman Andy Biggs. He is chairman of the House Freedom Caucus. Congressman, always great to have you with us.
Always good to be with you, too.
Look, let's get started here with the big question that is really on everybody's minds. When is the country going to reopen, and how important is it for everybody to get back to work?
Well, part A of the question is I don't know when we're going to reopen. I think it's up to the governors to really decide whether they want to love freedom, love their people, and let them get back and govern themselves. And the B part of it, though, is it is imperative that we open up the economy. If we don't get back to work, there's no way to slice it more cleanly than to say we will see even more business closures. We'll see even more people unemployed. And this is just not acceptable. I think that we can make decisions. I think Americans are responsible with their freedom, and they understand that you have to be careful when you're in public today. But you know what? If we don't, every sector, with the exception maybe the grocery stores, are all going way low. Even banks are talking now about having they're concerned about the losses with loan failures. You've got tenants not paying rent anywhere, whether it's residential or commercial. So we have got to get this thing opened.
Yeah, I'm just sensing restlessness around the country. And yesterday we told the story of all these people that were out protesting in North Carolina. Today in Michigan, they're expecting massive protest at the state capitol. Congressman, Americans just aren't built for this. We're not built to be sequestered inside a home, not working. We want to get out there and do something. That's kind of who we are. It's our DNA.
Yeah, absolutely. Americans love to work. They love to be successful. They love to be creative. They love to travel. They love to socialize. They love to be with other people. They love to really, just advance their lives and live their life. And, it's been very difficult. I end up working out of my home office. My whole staff is working out of their homes. Everybody I'm talking to, constituents, business groups, activists in the community, everybody's working out of their home. They're all restless, Todd. That's a great way of putting it. Everybody wants to get out. They want to participate. They love building their communities. They love building the country. And we are basically hindered and locked in place right now.
And as near as I can tell, all of the people on television right now and all of the people in Washington, D.C. that are saying, well, we've got to keep this thing closed down until maybe the summer or the fall. And, they're saying September, possibly in New York City. All those people are getting paychecks, Congressman, every single one of them.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's real easy to say, if you know you're going to keep getting a paycheck, like if you're working for the government, as so many people in America do these days, you're going to keep getting that paycheck. But the reality is, if you've invested your life savings, or if you've mortgaged your home, put a second mortgage on so you could start a small business and live the American dream, and you can be an entrepreneur, as the majority of Americans do. They work in small businesses. Guess what? You're out of luck, and the government's trying to feed that beast. But you can't tell me that they're closing this thing down for another month or 2 or 3 will do anything more but put us into a depression, because at some point there's no money left to pay government workers. Don't forget that too.
And you think that's where we're heading if we don't open this back up, a depression?
Yeah, I mean, look, one of the economic reports I read yesterday said that we're probably pushing well over 20 million by the end of this week of real unemployment, not the U6, not the old Obama unemployment numbers, but the real unemployment numbers, people who are not working, who want to work. When you start looking at that, you're probably well over 20 million people in this country today, and that means that you're pushing up to a level, and if we're closed another 2, 3, 4 weeks, you could have 30 to 35 million people unemployed according to some of the projections. But I mean, that's 10% of the country.
Congressman Andy Biggs on the Newsmaker line. Congressman, I know that you've been outspoken about Dr. Fauci. We have growing concerns here on this radio program. The numbers keep getting revised downward, and I do wonder, again, if you go to the president and say, Mr. President, and you're his medical expert, and you say, hey, we're going to have 2 million people die. Yeah, I understand shutting down the country. But if you go to the president and say, well, we're expecting maybe 60,000 people, 60,000 deaths, do you think that we would have shut down the country? Would we be in the place we are in today?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, the reality, somebody was making the argument yesterday that, well, the mitigation efforts that Fauci put in place, that's what reduced it from 2.2 million forecast down to 60,000. And the reality is, in virtually every model he was working off of, they had mitigation as a variable and a factor, not a variable, but a factor into their calculation. So if that's the case, what really has done this? Well, the models have been just terribly off. And you're right. Every 3 or 4 days, you see a reduced case fatality rate prediction. So it started off about a week and a half ago. It reduced it down to 200,000. Then it was 100,000. Then it was 75,000. Now it's 60,000. And some of the folks I'm reading now say it looks like it's going to be closer to 35,000. And don't forget, New York City just threw in 3,700 yesterday, even though there is no reason to believe that those are COVID-19 related deaths. They just added 3,700 into their figure and took us up to wherever we are this morning. But I mean, that's irresponsible on the part of New York, in my opinion. But it's also irresponsible to say we're going to assume literally millions of people and create a kind of a hysteria, kind of a panic in the society, and then make all your policies on that, and not considering other ramifications for doing what Fauci advocated for.
And look, in defense of New York City, they're following the CDC guidelines. When in doubt, classify it as coronavirus. And we heard from a state senator in Minnesota who is a doctor, a physician, and those were the orders they've been given from their state health. So, even if it is going to be, and I think it's terrific news that the numbers are that low. But in reality, we may never know what the true coronavirus death rate was here. And my question, Congressman, and I don't know if we're ever going to get an answer to this, is what just happened here in our country? What just happened?
Yeah, I'm not sure we're ever going to get a real answer on it either, because of all of the different particles of information that have been coming out that have been self-contradictory. And I fear that when this is done and we start looking back on it, this is going to be like in the end of the first Indiana Jones movie, where the Ark of the Covenant is in some case in some warehouse in Washington, D.C., and the real facts never get known. And I hope that that's not the case here, because we need to know why we got to where we are and how we never get back here again.
Are people right to be suspicious?
Well, I grew up in the hippie era where the bumper stickers and the T-shirts all said "question authority," and so I think you have to question authority. That what I find interesting is that the same people that had those bumper stickers and are wearing were wearing those T-shirts, they now have authority in many places, and they've abused that authority. They've abused their power. So I think you have to look at a lot of this skeptically. We should always question. Make sure that things are going according to what we believe in, which is the Constitution of the United States of America.
All right, Congressman, we've kept you so long, and we appreciate all your great insight here. And just there's a lot to wrap our heads around, and we're going to get through it. We're going to get through it.
Well, thanks for what you're doing, Todd. I appreciate the way you approach this and your integrity. Thank you, Todd.
All right, Congressman Andy Biggs, ladies and gentlemen, chairman of the House Freedom Caucus.